The first example is Warrior 3. And Warrior 3 can be taught in many different ways. One of the most important things is the standing leg, so the foundation, and then the core. The core is what's going to prevent injury in the lower back. I will see some people sequence from some kind of standing posture up to Warrior 3. And that's okay as long as you've done some core work to open up and you are being very vigilant with cueing core engagement, because that's a definite place for injury. Within Bikram yoga, they call it Tpose, and you start at the bottom of your mat, and then you bring your leg up in front of you, and you use the momentum to come into airplane or Tpose. Right? So that tells you that there's different options. You can bring the arms back behind you. You can bring the arms to heart center. Or you can bring the arms up over your head. And so that would look like this. Behind you, at your heart, up over your head. Okay, we're putting a lot of weight in the standing leg, so one thing we want to watch is the locking of the standing leg. The goal isn't necessarily to come perpendicular or perpendicular to the leg or parallel to the floor. The goal is more to keep the hips square. So what happens, you'll see this, is this, and notice how I'm opening up. First of all, it's easier, because what I'm doing is I'm actually using my femur inside the acetabulum, so my thigh bone inside the hip socket, to get my alignment. And that's not healthy. We want to be using the active muscles to engage us, to keep us in the posture. And one thing that is very common, mainly with women, but like with people everywhere, is the lack of side butt muscles or glute med. It actually is a contributor to low back pain. So there's 3 things that we're commonly looking at for low back pain, especially within yoga. Number 1, underdeveloped glute med muscles. Number 2, tight hamstrings. And number 3, SI joint issues. Okay? If you want, go to the anatomy, or if you're watching this as a YouTube video, then order the anatomy program. It's $111. It's so worth it. You can use more Frik-shuhn. So more Frik-shuhn is one word and spelled Frikshun, and that gets you 10% off. And so I'm just offering it here if you want, because it's so good. That course is for students and teachers, and it just helps you to understand your body in a different way. It's not all about the names of muscles and bones. Even though that's in there, that's not what matters. What matters is how you feel. So notice that let's try this together. So bring the arms up over your head, and we're going to move really slow. Put all of the weight into the right foot, engage the right leg, and start to bring the left leg up into the air behind you. Keep the toes facing down and the heels pointing up towards the sky, and start to rotate at the pelvis, bringing the leg up into the air behind you and keeping the hip square. So notice, your body really wants to just do this because it's easy. So stop when it starts to open. And then stay there, and then notice what happens to the standing leg side butt. You can really feel it there. And that's what we want. Also, keep the core engaged. A block can help you with Warrior 3. You can start working on the side butt muscle and not necessarily worrying as much about the core. You can really learn to keep the hips square. And this can be your Warrior 3. Just while you strengthen the bum, try this for a bit. Keep the hip square. See how it feels on the right hip.